faithfully convey, value, and interpret great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. I'm Zhang Meng, the interpreter of this book. Today, I'll interpret a book for you called Execution with the subtitle The Discipline of Getting Things Done. The book has two authors who are both amazing. One is Larry Bossidy, who is the president of Honeywell, a Fortune 500 company, and one of the world's most respected CEOs. He was named the 1998 CEO of the Year by Chief Executive Magazine. And the other author is Ram Charan, a globally renowned management consultant known as the modern-day Drucker. Execution is key to business management. Why do we say that? Let's look at two cases. The first case, in 1999, Tom Mann was appointed CEO of Xerox. After taking office, he proposed transforming Xerox from a product and service company into a solutions provider. He confidently told shareholders that the company was ready and a new era of success was about to begin. He then launched two actions. One was to consolidate the company's over 90 management centers into four, and the other was to form a sales force of 30,000 people, shifting from regional-based to industry-based units. The plan seemed perfect. The consolidation could greatly reduce costs and improve efficiency. And the reorganization of the sales force would pave the way for providing solutions to customers. But by the end of the year, Xerox was in big trouble. During the consolidation of management centers, due to large personnel transfers, orders were lost, and customer service complaints kept happening. And the changes in the sales system kept salespeople busy adapting to new departments with no energy to focus on customer relationships. The company's performance suffered greatly. Cash flow turned negative, and investors began selling stocks. After just 1 year, Tom Mann was dismissed. That example is when Brown took over EDS in 1999. Internally, ADS had weak decision-making, unclear responsibilities, and its organizational structure was severely out of touch with market demands. Performance was poor. Not only did revenue stop growing, but profit margins and stock prices fell, and it was beaten down by competitor IBM. Facing this situation, Brown didn't rush into action. He spent a full 3 months touring branches worldwide, meeting and discussing with staff at all levels. After ongoing in-depth conversations, Brown clarified the key goals and action plans. The urgent demand in the market is IT services. Many companies desperately need to integrate IT systems to achieve industrial integration between suppliers and customers. And EDS has a natural advantage here. Its abundant resources allow it to offer professional operational services and strategic consulting. More importantly, EDS has an experienced and highly motivated talent team. But to leverage these advantages, they had to adjust the original organizational structure and culture. ADS's original structure resembled a Confederate system of business units, divided by industry, with little cooperation. Brown believed they must increase responsibility and collaboration through restructuring. He quickly took 3 decisive actions. The first was to unify thoughts and pace. He convened a meeting with 150 executives, explained the company plans in detail, and fully reached consensus. The second action targeted talent. Many underperforming managers were fired while setting up a pay system where bonuses are directly linked to performance. The third action targeted the organizational structure. Over 40 business units were reorganized into 4 markets: electronic solutions, business process management, information solutions, and high-end consulting services, covering nearly all customer needs. To unify command and coordination, Brown also formed a 7-person team to regularly communicate and resolve issues. After 2.5 months of hard work, the new model became reality. Why did Xerox fail while EDS succeeded? Uh, In Basti and Ramsharn's view, the reason is simple. Xerox lacked an execution system, while Brown at EDS created one and an execution culture. Without an execution system, all plans are castles in the air, but with one, it can automatically create opportunities and growth. Research shows that over 70% of strategic failures stem not from poor planning, but from weak execution. So companies often need not perfect designs, but strong execution. Since execution systems are so crucial, how can we build one? This is the book's main content. Today, I'll interpret it in two parts. The first covers how to build an effective execution system. Part two, the two fundamental guarantees of the execution system. First, let's discuss part one, how to build an efficient execution system. The book is called Execution. What is execution? Execution is the bridge connecting goals and results. It addresses three fundamental business questions: who does it, what to do, and how to do it. The key to execution is linking talent strategy with operations. So, how do we connect them? By relying on three core processes: talent selection and development, strategy formulation, and operational implementation. First, let's examine the execution system's initial process: talent selection and development. Talent is crucial to execution. As we all know, a weak soldier affects one, but a weak leader affects the whole team. The quality and quantity of leaders are core guarantees for strategic goals and operational efficiency. Building a leadership pipeline means enhancing leaders' capabilities, ensuring leadership succession, and retaining competent leaders. Here, I'll introduce two tools for building leadership pipelines. One is the leadership map, and the other is the individual improvement card. The leadership map has two dimensions: performance, such as how many contracts a sales manager signed, and behavior. For example, whether they excel at collaboration or tend to work alone. The leadership map evaluates team members, allowing differentiated treatment based on performance. On this map, employees exceeding average in both performance and behavior get promoted. Those meeting behavioral standards but lacking performance need more training. Employees underperforming in both areas require reassignment. The individual improvement card creates a talent profile for each employee. This profile includes ratings of skills and qualities like business acumen, execution ability, and responsibility. The other part outlines development priorities, key strengths, improvement areas, and future career paths. Using leadership maps and improvement cards has given many companies significant competitive advantages. For example, at General Electric, if a key person leaves, they can find a suitable internal replacement within 24 hours. Talent mobility is normal and a critical step in the talent process. But persuading someone to leave is much harder than hiring. For instance, those asked to leave may question evaluation standards. Without clear, fair criteria and procedures, disputes easily arise. Moreover, those leaving the company often experience deep psychological distress, resentment, shame, and even hatred. Companies should practice empathy and ensure dignified departures. When handling underperformers, note that performance is role-specific. For example, an exceptional salesperson might be ill-suited for management. In such cases, the best approach is transitioning them to suitable roles rather than terminating talent. The third step transforms HR's role. In execution systems, HR moves beyond routine administration to deeply integrate talent strategy with business operations. Simply put, HR's effectiveness must be measured by business results. In this regard, Alibaba's HR system sets the standard. They master HR operations, talent development cycles, and organizational mechanics, powerfully enabling Alibaba's strategy execution. That concludes talent selection and development. Next, we explore the execution system's second process: strategy formulation, an inherently complex framework. For execution, strategy must produce actionable plans. Consider this case. In 1997, Armstrong became AT&T's CEO, proposing integrated information services as the new strategic goal. He launched 4 initiatives: acquiring fiber optic companies for direct customer access and offering bundled services. Third was rapid revenue generation. Fourth leveraged the 1996 U.S. Telecom Act. These promising strategies collapsed by 2001. Fiber assets sold at half price, stock down 2/3. Where did things go wrong? Post-analysis showed all Armstrong's strategic assumptions were flawed. The fiber acquisitions incurred massive debt, bundled services drew little interest, poor marketing execution stalled market growth. The 1996 Telecom Act wasn't enforced, letting regional competitors flood AT&T's core long-distance market unchecked. And various circumstances indicate that Armstrong's strategy was fundamentally disconnected from the company's internal and external conditions at the time. Therefore, his new strategy could only end in failure. From this case, we see strategy implementation ultimately solves matching company capabilities with market environment. Especially crucial are capabilities. Without them, even beautiful opportunities become unattainable illusions. So how do we formulate strategy? This requires answering 5 questions. First, where are the opportunities? Leaders must deeply understand external changes, economic, demographic trends, and policy shifts to technological innovations, competitive landscapes, and product iterations. Second, what changes are occurring in existing market demand? Go directly to customers, understand who they are, how they decide, why they buy, what they value. Real needs and behaviors hold immense opportunities. Third, who are the competitors? What are their products, tech, and capabilities? What actions might they take? Where do we differ from them? Identifying entry points for higher success chances. Answering these greatly enhances action plan feasibility. Fourth, what are my capabilities? Assess tangible strengths, products, suppliers, tech, capital, and intangible soft strengths. For example, regarding strategy implementation, companies must always ask, are my capabilities truly the critical success factors? For instance, if strategy requires global production, key factors include global talent, supply chains, and communication networks. Fifth, can it be sustained? Short-term versus long-term conflicts always exist. Execution-focused firms prioritize short-term goals, but this risks opportunism, contradicting strategy's essence of pursuing sustainable development over fleeting growth. Answering these 5 questions is only half complete. From an execution perspective, we must translate these insights into actionable plans. And this requires strategic assessment. Strategic assessment has 3 key points. First, is the business logic clear? Is there sufficient data to back it up? Business logic refers to the cause and effect chain from goals to actions to outcomes, which must be thoroughly validated. Like in the AT&T case mentioned earlier, too many actions between strategic goals and the 4 initiatives lacked validation. Second key point, is the action plan sufficiently focused? Any grand plan must progress step by step to succeed. If one action solves it, don't take 3. Because excessive actions demand more resources, complicate management, and invite stronger competitive counterattacks. A strong action plan should focus on core objectives and key factors, concentrating power for decisive impact. Third, is the execution team competent? The team ensures effectiveness. A top team can execute mediocre plans, but never let mediocre teams execute top plans. How many competent talents do you have? How can such talents be rapidly deployed? The quantity of talent determines strategic action feasibility and sustainability. We can even say, with an exceptional team, success comes without a plan. They'll devise solutions and create opportunities. That concludes the strategy process. It answers the direction question. Next, we'll cover the execution system's third process, operational implementation. How exactly to execute? How do we ensure strategy gets implemented? Operational processes are detailed plans linking strategic actions with talent teams, but they're more granular and complex, requiring leaders' constant coordination, follow up, and supervision. Operational implementation involves four elements: objectives, actions, outcomes, and budget. First, objectives. From a corporate view, cash flow, revenue, profit, productivity, and ROI are most critical because they measure company profitability, growth potential, and competitiveness. Generally, growth oriented targets like cash flow or revenue growth matter more than static figures. They reflect business dynamics. One challenge in goal setting is achieving consensus. For instance, subordinates prefer lower targets while superiors push higher ones. Another challenge is setting reasonable targets. If goals are set too high, they become unrealistic. Too low, and opportunities get wasted. The solution is gathering key stakeholders for candid discussions about realistic conditions, risks, and opportunities. Next, let's examine the second element of operational implementation. Without concrete action, goals remain empty talk. So, when discussing objectives, the core task is demonstrating action feasibility. The biggest action obstacle is collaboration. As plans cascade to departments or individuals, conflicting interests and communication barriers derail implementation. For example, marketing, executing a promotion plan requires sales design. Full cooperation from customer service is essential for optimal results. The departments ask, "What's in it for me?" Once this mindset prevails, operational plans face immense hurdles. Thus, enabling action synergy becomes key to operational plans. Beyond aligning mindsets, companies must clarify responsibilities. More crucially, establish robust communication mechanisms for regular progress tracking. The third element is budgeting. Fiercer than target setting battles, since budgets represent tangible resources. Ramchar notes most companies make a critical budgeting mistake, creating budgets first, then operational plans. Instead, budgets should derive from operational plans. Two reasons. Operational plans are reality-based, giving budgets solid foundations. And since operational plans drive outcomes, budgets become tightly linked to performance. Timing is crucial in budgeting. Ramcharan offers a practical method to create reasonable budgets in 3 days. How? Hold a 3-day workshop, gather department leaders for open dialogue, brief on company context, interdepartmental relations, then dive deep into key topics. Specifically, departments present action plans first, followed by cross-department QA, and adjourn briefly, letting leaders consult teams and provide feedback. After the meeting resumes, this information needs to be integrated to form a comprehensive understanding. Finally, discuss again to reach resolutions. After 4 rounds, a consensus-based budget plan emerges. The fourth element of operations is outcomes. Objectives, actions, and budgets all exist to achieve results. Transforming operational plans into outcomes depends on 2 factors: follow-up and adjustment, the leader's dual responsibilities. How to follow up? This requires a detailed follow-up plan. It lists objectives, tasks, timelines, responsible persons. Leaders track 2 gaps periodically: metric gaps and behavior gaps. Metric gaps show progress toward goals. Behavior gaps reveal improvement opportunities. Behavioral improvements boost performance metrics. Adjustments are common during follow-up. Plans rarely survive reality. Competitor launches or key staff departures can derail plans, demanding swift adaptation. Despite operational complexity, focusing on objectives, actions, budgets, and outcomes with consistent follow-up and agile adjustments naturally yields results. This concludes Part 1 on the execution system's 3 core processes. With these processes, will the execution system operate smoothly and efficiently? The answer is no. Execution's essence is bridging goals and results. 2 foundational supports make this bridge functional: Competent leadership and cultural transformation. This is today's second part. First, what defines competent leadership? Ramcharan identifies four leadership tasks: set goals, diligent follow up, prioritize motivation, and constant coaching. This means leaders must engage frontline operations, understand employees, make practical judgments, and act decisively. Indeed, the journey from goals to outcomes is execution itself and the leader's core responsibility. A leader's commitment and competence determine execution success. Hence Ramcharan's emphasis: leaders must know themselves. He states leaders need emotional fortitude. Whether comfortable or not, you must confront it. Simply put, it means making decisions and judgments without relying on personal emotions. It's the most crucial quality for leaders, determining their fundamental behavior. So where does emotional fortitude come from? Ramcharan says long-term leaders typically have personal ethical standards, the source of strength enabling difficult tasks. Four indispensable ways cultivate emotional fortitude: maintain sincerity, humility, self-awareness, and self-control. Ultimately, growth comes from focusing on and learning from practical experience. Another key leadership task is talent management. Ram Charan believes leaders must know their people and assign them wisely, the best way to take responsibility for employees. But in practice, many leaders won't or can't do this, leading to insufficient talent pipelines and difficulty developing qualified leaders. Digging deeper, leaders either lack knowledge to identify or utilize talent or lack courage to make personnel changes. Both demonstrate irresponsibility. Achieving this requires enormous passion and energy from leaders, plus scientific methodology. Leaders must understand suitable talent criteria, where to find, how to evaluate scientifically, motivate, assess, etc. Harari Bossity, co-author, spent 40% of his first 2 years as Honeywell CEO developing talent. Post-stabilization, he still dedicated no less than 20% to talent development. Sustaining execution systems requires cultural transformation. Execution demands an action culture. So how do we shape an action culture? Ramcharan's analysis is profoundly insightful. He states, cultural change only becomes possible when your goal is task completion. To achieve this, change employee behaviors impacting business outcomes. How specifically? First, communicate company goals, then collaboratively discuss required conditions and provide training. Later, reward contributors. Right. Address underperformers individually, coach, or reassign. Without action, no results. Without rewards or penalties, no change. Execution culture is just that: simple, direct, and effective. Looking comprehensively, cultural transformation involves four factors. First, interactive communication mechanisms. Culture isn't one person's beliefs or actions, but collective behavioral norms across the organization, thus requiring communication systems to break hierarchies, cover the whole organization, and drive sustained progress. Second factor, open, candid dialogue atmosphere. Having mechanisms doesn't guarantee effectiveness. Top-down, command-style communication widens divides and causes organizational collapse. Effective communication requires dialogue, openness, candor, receptivity, and listening. Only in trusting, friendly environments will people actively share perspectives and experiences. Third, leaders leading by example. If leaders only preach, employees lose trust and won't act. As the book states, a company's culture is defined by its leaders' behaviors. Thus, changing leader behaviors is the most effective way to transform corporate behavior. This means leaders must honor commitments, actions matching words. Fourth factor, linking rewards to performance. Reward systems are powerful motivators. Ramcharan says behavioral change starts by transparently linking employee performance to rewards. Note, punishment isn't mentioned. It's not the goal or even necessary. If everyone contributes performance, why punish? Linking to performance promotes clear, fair values. Only those following norms and excelling deserve greater rewards. That concludes the book's core insights. Its essence can be summarized as 1 plus 3 plus 2. 1 core, 3 processes, 2 foundations. The core, building an execution system bridging goals and results. 3 processes: talent selection, development, strategy formulation, operational implementation. These interlocking processes solve who does it, what to do, how to do it. Finally, driving execution efficiency requires 2 foundations: competent leadership and cultural transformation. All right, that wraps up our interpretation of the book Execution for you. You'll find the reading notes below the audio. See you tomorrow.